There is a strange feeling that many people experience at least once in their lives. Everything on the outside seems normal. The job is still there. The relationships are still there. The familiar room hasn't changed. The city continues moving at its usual pace. Nothing dramatic has happened. No disaster, no visible collapse. And yet something inside has shifted. The things that once excited us begin to feel strangely empty. Goals that once pulled us forward no longer seem powerful enough. We wake up in the morning feeling as though we are walking a familiar road, but we are no longer sure why we are walking it. Most people call this a crisis. They say we are lost, confused, overthinking, unable to decide what we want. But Joseph Campbell offered a different perspective. Perhaps you are not lost. Perhaps you are standing at the threshold of an adventure. In every great myth, the hero's journey begins in much the same way. At first, the hero lives in an ordinary world, a world that is familiar, predictable, and safe. Then one day, that world is no longer enough. Not because it is bad, but because the hero has grown beyond it. A call appears. Sometimes it arrives as an opportunity, sometimes as a loss, sometimes as an unexpected encounter, sometimes as a quiet restlessness that cannot be explained. And very often, it arrives in the form of a question. Is this really the life I am meant to live? That is the strange thing about life's major turning points. They rarely begin with answers. They begin with doubt. One part of us wants to continue living as we always have. Another part begins to feel trapped inside the very life we once worked so hard to build. Carl Jung noticed that many people enter the second half of life carrying a peculiar sense of unease. They have achieved what society told them to achieve. They have built careers, identities, reputations, and social roles. Yet they discover that these things cannot answer the deeper question of meaning. It is as though an actor suddenly realizes he has become too attached to the role. He knows the character perfectly, but he no longer knows who he is. This is where the feeling of being lost begins. And this is precisely where Campbell offers a radical insight. What we call a crisis is not always a sign that something is wrong. Sometimes it is a sign that something is awakening. The problem is that we usually try to fix it too quickly. When we feel empty, we rush to fill the emptiness. When we feel uncertain, we search for immediate answers. When we feel anxious, we try to return to the person we used to be. But what if this feeling is not a problem to solve? What if it is a doorway? In mythology, the hero almost always refuses the call at first. Moses hesitates. The Buddha leaves the palace only after confronting suffering. Arjuna wishes to abandon the battlefield. Even in modern stories, the protagonist rarely steps into the adventure with enthusiasm. They step into it with fear. Because every true adventure demands a death, not a physical death, but the death of an old identity, the death of outdated assumptions, the death of answers that no longer work. Perhaps this is why intelligent people often feel lost. They see the limitations of games that others are still playing. They notice contradictions. They sense that familiar answers are incomplete. They glimpse the emptiness behind what once seemed certain. And so they find themselves wandering through a landscape for which there is no map. From the outside, it looks like confusion. But from the perspective of myth, it is the beginning of the journey. No one can promise what waits on the other side. No one can guarantee that life will become easier. But Campbell believed there is something even more dangerous than stepping into the adventure. It is spending an entire life refusing it. For when the call appears and is continually ignored, life slowly becomes repetitive. We continue working. We continue fulfilling responsibilities. we continue doing what is expected of us. Yet something essential begins to wither, because it is not being allowed to live the life it is trying to become. Perhaps feeling lost is not evidence that you have taken the wrong path. Perhaps it is the moment when the old path is coming to an end, and a new one is quietly emerging through the fog. The hardest part is that no one can walk through that threshold for you. But perhaps, like every hero in every story told across thousands of years, your task is not to know exactly where you are going. Your task is simply to find the courage to take the next step.